Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Martin, the production consultant for The Grit Live. This is a rebroadcast of episode 18 of my podcast, Wealthadelphia, with Jared Cannon. Jared uses the Enterprise Center's Center for Culinary Enterprises, located right at 48th and Spruce Street in Philadelphia, for his new business, Simply Good Jars. Hello, everybody. I am here today with Jared Cannon. He is the founder of Simply Good Jars, which, as I understand it, is a hyper-local zero-waste meal prep company. Is that kind of a good way to...
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Okay, cool.
There's definitely a chef curation aspect to what we do.
Yeah.
Handcrafted meals, it's
cool.
A lot of care and smiles go in every jar.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually, what I kind of wanted to start off with is, let you walk us through exactly what Simply Good does.
Sure. So, we, as I kind of alluded to, are a kind of chef-curated, healthy meal delivery service.
Mm-hmm.
We really focus on, a hyper-local sourcing of ingredients from about 25 local farms.
Okay.
We work with farm aggregators in the area that can get that product to us, which is great. It helps the local farmers, which have dedicated their lives to growing these amazing products, but at the end of the day, they're not the business savvy types to deal with the logistics and the deliveries and the billing, right? So that's kind of how we're able to get access to such a wide variety of really awesome products. So we just take them with care and we make healthy food that's actually craveably delicious. We put it in jars, which actually allows the product to be preserved for about 5 days under refrigeration.
Okay.
We have a kind of proprietary layering technique that allows the integrity of the product to actually remain super fresh and amazing for that time span, and we guarantee 5 days fresh.
Okay, and that's awesome. What was your journey into this? I think I was reading on the website. You were going to the Culinary Institute of America, then you went down to Florida, wrapped up your education at Temple.
Yep.
And then you've also ran some pretty crazy kitchens.
Yeah.
You were at the Ritz-Carlton kitchen, right?
Yep, 6 years.
Yeah, and then Tria. What other ones do we have on here? Well, why don't you tell us?
My journey started when I was 5 years old, literally. There's pictures of me at the counter, standing on stools, making pasta, stuffing turkeys. It's just been something that I've always been drawn to.
Okay.
And I think I grew up kind of cooking alongside my grandmother, cooking for family dinners, meals, whatever, and, found a love for it, kind of had that discovery, this is kind of what I want to do with the rest of my life, kind of dedicate myself to that. So sought out the best culinary school I could. I've always been a firm believer in build a strong foundation, and then you can kind of grow and get creative after that.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey of education and kind of chasing that foundation, brought me to the CIA in New York, down to Florida International University in Miami, which, also allowed us to simultaneously grow a resume by working with the Ritz-Carlton and my education at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And then finally back to Philly at Temple's master's program.
Okay, and how did the entrepreneurial aspect come in? Because the degree you got from Temple was Fox School of Business, Master's in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Yep. Mm-hmm. So did you go straight through, or did you...
No, I took a break.
Okay.
Probably about a 6-year break from Miami to get, kind of dedicating myself to get my master's. I think, in looking back, I've always had a kind of entrepreneurial spirit. When I was 13 years old, it's a funny story I tell people, but I feel like I was the inventor of Netflix and, saw this need for, on-demand home delivery video service along with a pizza, right? So people would get that, but then you would go to Blockbuster and, wrap the aisles and pick your movies. And actually at 13, I wrote a full business plan. I brought it to the bank. We actually got approved for the loan pending collateral, which my parents obviously did not want to put up at that time.
Yeah.
And sign their life away for a 13-year-old's idea for a business. So that obviously didn't happen. But then, 4 years later, Netflix pops up. And, the model, the business plan, everything had, kiosks where you could drop off your movies, return them. It was pretty funny. But, I think working through restaurants and running restaurants, it was always great and exciting because you never really knew what to expect.
Yeah.
But I always felt like it was never enough. I was always chasing more. And the more I grew, I was able to learn a lot of awesome lessons. And right now, today, everything that I've done has allowed me to be where we are right now.
I've
learned a lot of learned from a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what does work, and I wouldn't change a thing in my journey. Because it's kind of aligned itself now to where I can kind of look back and say, wow, that's coming in handy right now.
Yeah, hindsight's always 20/20
Yeah,
for sure.
Crazy.
And so one of the things I was reading is that Simply Good is Simply Good jar is zero waste.
Yep.
Right. So that sounds kind of self-explanatory, but what exactly is that standard, and like what does it mean specifically?
Yeah. So when I was starting a company, I had a lot of check boxes I wanted to check off, and one of them was how can I do a food-based business that's scalable, profitable, but then can I actually do good? So meaning feed people good food and do good for the environment and for kind of the social areas that we're in. So our commitment to zero waste is pretty awesome. So we do. The jar itself was a vessel picked specifically for this because, as I alluded, it lasts 5 days in the fridge.
Yeah.
But it's fully recyclable. It's made from the most recycled plastic in the world. It's reusable because they're pretty sturdy, so you can do stuff with them at home instead of throwing them in the garbage. But we really incentivize our customer base to return them to us.
Yeah, I was reading that.
And our incentive there is like, all right, help us be zero waste. Let's kind of all work together to better the communities that we serve. And for every jar that you give back to us and don't throw in the garbage, we're going to prepare one fresh meal and feed those in need. So, the hungry, the less fortunate. And so here in Philadelphia, we partner with Phil Abundance. And,
okay, cool.
In just, 3 short months, we've served over 3,000 meals to those in need and those who don't have access to food, let alone healthy food.
Yeah.
And we make it fresh. It's not the day-old, 5-day-old, bananas going bad, canned food. No, we prepare meals the day before we deliver it, and it's fresh, and they're able to kind of shell it out over the course of a couple days.
Okay. And that, you said that partnership's been going on for 3 months now?
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think I was reading on there that the meals only cost, what is it, like $8.66 per. Yep. So, and I don't want you to, give away any trade secrets or anything, but how are you able to charge so little for the meals and then also be able to provide like a freshly prepared meal to?
So that's what business school is all about. Right?
Well, yeah, I guess learning how to do that.
I think in the beginning when I was really, this is a 4-year idea in the making now, right?
Okay.
But originally I thought like maybe it needs to be a nonprofit, right? There's no way this can be profitable. But I think, at my time at Temple at Fox School of Business and, working in a lot of social entrepreneurship circles, there's a lot of discoveries made through innovation, through different techniques to be able to have a for-profit business that can do good, that can make a significant impact, but then can also serve awesome food. So, our model right now is we do our subscription service, and for about $8.66 or less a meal, you can get 3 meals, 2 meals, 2 lunches, delivered right to your office. $26 flat, no delivery fees, no nothing.
Yeah. And that's right now, I think you only serve Center City, right? Or is it?
Yep. So we have a waiting list of about 500 people.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I mean, we're excited to start to serve, everybody that's excited about what we're doing. Right now, we are focused on Center City. I think it's very important that we don't get ahead of ourselves, try and overcommit, and then our customers lose the experience. They lose the integrity of the product. If you scale too fast, you can start making stupid mistakes, right? So,
yeah.
For us, it's about making sure that we can address our serviceable market, and that's basically Center City, Philadelphia. It's Spring Garden to Washington, a little bit into West Philly, around like 38th Street, all the way down to front.
Nice. And I think something that's influenced me, and I'm kind of curious about whether or not this was part of the way you got the idea for this company, is I am a server bartender. So working in a restaurant, obviously you see a ton of food waste.
Oh yeah.
Is that something that of like was like, okay, I want to be in an environment where I can kind of control that and stop it? Okay.
Absolutely. Like being in the food service business and just being in the market research arena in business school, food waste is a huge problem in this country. And we're talking billions of pounds of food is wasted.
It's like a third of all food.
It's crazy. And I think bananas might be the largest contributor in weight.
Interesting.
As a product, in the entire country. But it's a real problem. And being in restaurants and seeing that, it was, always like, man, there's so many hungry people out there. We should be trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's always that fear of like, oh, well, what if they sue you? What if they do this? We can't do that. We just got to throw it away.
Yeah, yeah.
And I never found that was a good answer to that question or that problem. So definitely a huge factor in, again, one of those check boxes that we wanted to check off through this kind of idea discovery phase of kind of building what the concept and core principles of the company would be.
Yeah. And you said you were originally from Delaware,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Born and raised.
So how'd you decide on Philly as the place to really set up shop and kind of dig the roots in?
So it's funny, being in Delaware, we would come up to Philly from time to time, go to Chinatown, have like little fun things. And I thought like, oh, like Philly, that's my own backyard. Like I go there all the time. I know Philly. I didn't know anything about Philly.
Yeah.
But really what brought me back to Philly was, going off the Culinary Institute, doing the Miami thing, running a couple restaurants in Charlotte, North Carolina. Family started to be like, come home, we miss you. And there was a lot of, they were doing a lot of job searching for me in the area. And actually found a company that I used to work for, Iron Hill Brewery.
Oh, okay,
And they were hiring, and they're an awesome company. I speak highly of them to this day. I had and very much enjoyed my time there and grew a lot as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of my insert back to Philadelphia. So I was placed at in Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
It's still technically the city of Philadelphia. So
The-
PPA's up there roaming the streets.
Okay. Is that not media? I thought it was, or do they have another location?
So I started at media for training, and
Okay.
then I got shipped off in about like 2 months, I think, up to Chestnut Hill.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been to the one in media, and I really like that one a
Yeah.
lot. All
Love
right.
media.
And so what's one thing that you didn't know was going to be super difficult when starting your own business? Like, I mean, I'm sure there are probably, several pages worth of things that you can list off, but
So it's funny. I think that naturally, as an entrepreneur or somebody who's trying to start their own business, you kind of have to start with some sort of assumptions. I think that, to a fault on the money raising side of things, not having a business plan has hit me in a couple different ways. But to me, I think it's a good thing because I feel like if I spent and invested so much time and energy and thought into creating a business plan that was so structured, that's just how my mind works, right? That I would spend my time trying to prove that plan to be true. And not listening to our customers, not being nimble, being very reactive, and organically growing the company, the culture, the products to what's really going to work in the market, right?
yeah.
So
Maintaining
kind of
that flexibility.
absolutely.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So it's kind of been a good thing and a bad thing. But to me, it's like, look, if you're passionate about something, if you really believe in something, it's going to work.
Mhm.
You just have to be humble enough, one, to accept criticisms and really listen to people and not be so gung ho about like this is how it's going to be, this is how we're going to do it. My idea is the best. That's just not the way that kind of the world works sometimes.
Yeah. And I meant to ask this earlier, but how long have you guys been in operation?
So we have been operating now since November of 2017.
Okay, so
about 4 months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like I said, this has been in the works now for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's changed so many. The names changed, the containers changed,
Cool.
the recipes have gone through all kinds of different testing. But yeah, I mean, November 2017's kind of been our kickoff,
Nice.
and every week is just getting better and better. It's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
How many people is your team? Do you have like a large team? Or?
Yeah, so I mean, literally 6 weeks ago, I was myself. I was a one-man show. I did the website, I did the marketing, I did the kitchen work, I did the recipe development, I did operate. I could keep going. But I've been fortunate enough to have surrounded myself with enough awesome people here in Philadelphia that I've worked for and not worked for in the past, and people gravitated towards what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
They were into it. They were excited. They wanted to be a part of something. So I now have a team of about 6 people.
Wow.
I have a director of sales and marketing. I have somebody doing operations. I have 2 people running the kitchen. I have a in-house creative design and social media
Nice.
person, and obviously we have like the attorneys and all
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
too. But yeah, it's exciting, and I think in the beginning that transition from doing your one-man show, doing everything yourself, to starting to delegate out, and making sure everything is still aligned with, here's the vision and communicating that vision. I think more and more now I'm starting to realize that that's really what everybody needs to be fed. As long as they have the vision's aligned, and we're all moving in the same direction together, we're able to make huge impacts very fast.
Okay. And what's something that an individual, like anybody listening, could do to kind of be more zero waste, like less wasteful, or, what's like, do you have any good tips about like sustainability, that kind of thing?
I mean, I don't know, because, there's the Blue Aprons of the world, right? There's the prepared foods. Like, I think I was in a grocery store not too long ago, and I saw a orange that was cut up, peeled in a plastic container, and people are selling a orange without the peel, and then in a container that's just going to go in the garbage.
Yeah.
So, I think that, your consumption habits, if you really take a moment and kind of look at your consumption and what you're buying and how much is actually going in the trash and how many bags of trash are going down that chute or going to the curb, and then kind of taking a step back and reevaluating kind of, what choices you could make that might make a little bit of an impact and have one less bag of trash going out. Because, for us, it's easy. We just take the bag and we drop it down the thing and then we forget about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Who cares? But, that's actually going out and having a negative impact on the world that we're in. So,
yeah, it was kind of, interesting, because I was thinking about your sort of the way that you like, because you guys come and collect the jars after it's done, right? So it's almost like, it's sort of, like innovative, but in a way it's really just kind of going back to the milkman model.
That's exactly what that's how we describe it.
Yeah.
It's we call it the milkman model, I swear.
Yeah.
So our subscriptions, we have a little carrier. You get your jars in your carrier every week. And then every week we show back up with your new jars. Hey, we're already there, by the way. Let's just swap them. We'll take your old ones if you want to give them back. Literally, everybody does it. It's amazing. Like, some of my assumptions, we're like, 60% might do it, might be 40. I don't know. But week after week, it's actually awesome to see and have so many people helping us kind of drive our mission.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I interviewed Julie Hancher a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she runs a company called Green Philly, and they have like a blog and everything, and I was kind of asking her for, sustainability tips too, and she kind of alluded to something almost identical, where it's like, it's really just kind of going back to how human beings used to live, like instead of, having everything individually packaged, buy stuff wholesale and, like do it yourself. Or yeah, I mean, my one of my roommates bought, that like the not deli cheese, but like the pre-cut cheese, and it's like every individual piece of cheese and another and I'm like, wow, that is the most wasteful thing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Like, it's like,
I mean, if you really open your eyes to the reality and look around you and become observant, it's funny how much things you can pick up. It's similar to, like, I know there's a saying out there, like, pregnant women, you never notice them until you're a woman who's pregnant, and then you see pregnant women everywhere, right? So it's kind of that, like, opening of your eyes of kind of what's in front of you, and then kind of taking a step back and being like, oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. And I only have a couple more questions. But before we get to them, do you have anything that you want to talk about, or any events or anything you want to plug, let the audience know about?
So we have some really cool stuff coming up.
Cool.
In May, we'll be piloting a really cool kind of step up in the innovation side of what we're doing. So as I alluded, we are doing the subscription model. We're touching individual subscribers. But in May, we'll be launching about 3 really cool proprietary refrigerated, like, vending fridges.
Oh,
and
nice.
Our jars will be available in these fridges in like office buildings, hospitals, airports. So right now we have actually partnered up with Benjamin's Desk at one of their locations down in Washington Square.
Okay.
The Ronald McDonald House. We have a couple offices out in, like, Berwyn area. And we're looking to get into, like, a shop situation. But, we are looking to really funnel our model to have people all be able to access this food anytime they want and have a larger variety to choose from. And then there's also a bin right next to the machine, obviously, that return the jars to us. And every time you slide a jar in, there's actually a ticker that will show all the jars that have come from that location for lifetime. So
that's awesome.
It will be pretty cool to kind of go back to one of those first, 1 and 2 or 3 locations as we continue to grow and see those impacts that have been made, as we continue to grow over the years.
That's awesome. That's just like, it's a really cool idea. It's like the water bottle or the water fountains that have like how many individual water bottles have been saved or whatever.
Same thing.
Yeah. And so the other question I was going to ask is, what are some local resources you'd like to plug? Like, I know you mentioned Full Abundance, so that's obviously a really good one. But are there any others? And I mean, we're also sitting in Benjamin's desk right now. They just merged with 1776. So
they've been great to us, and we've been a partner. And what's cool about Benjamin's desk is that they almost are more of an incubator shared office space. So they actually help small companies get exposure, connect people, and really help companies grow, which is pretty awesome.
Okay.
And then I guess lastly, the Enterprise Center has been instrumental in our ability to, 1, even bring our product to market, and 2, have the space and ability and support to be able to scale. So if anybody's not familiar, it's 48th and Spruce, Doris Hamilton Culinary Center for Culinary Enterprises. It's a commercial kitchen space. It's available to anybody with a food service business that has all of the permitting, licensing, insurances, has somewhat of a customer base. And, as a food entrepreneur, you can have access to a fully licensed, USDA inspected commercial kitchen, produce your product, and distribute straight out of the space. And, for us, we wouldn't be here sitting and talking if it wasn't for them. So
awesome. And last question is, where can we connect with you and Simply Good Jars?
Yeah, so, you can find us on our social media, at Simply Good Jars, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Cool.
Our website is www.simplygoodjars.com. Super easy.
Cool.
And subscribing is as easy as going to our website, clicking on subscribe, and we just show up with your jars. It's that easy, $26 a week. And
cool. And another good point I think to make is that if you live outside of the delivery area, you have a waiting list, right? So you can just sign up for that, and then like once you're in the area, like you'll get a notification.
Absolutely. So what we're doing is we are generating a waiting list, and what we're doing is growing by zip code. So what we're looking for are people that are interested in potentially subscribing or trying our product. And as we open new zip codes for delivery, we'll be able to filter all of our people on the waiting list. Anybody that's in that zip code, we'll get that automatic notification that dreams do come true.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Jared. I really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
If you enjoyed this program, please do 2 things. Share The Grit Live with your family and friends across your social media, and rate and review us on the podcast player of your choice. Thank you for listening.